And
Yes,
welcome back. You're still
welcome
with
back.
us on Daily 90. Now, Formula One fans in Asia were delighted to welcome the use of Malaysian Sepang circuit for world-class events.
Yes.
However, now Malaysia has announced that it will play host to F1 for the last time.
Yes, after 19 years of being one of the courses challenging Formula One drivers, the decision is sure to have an impact on the sport and fans alike. And also we have Razlan Razali here to tell us more about the decision.
Yes, so what led to the decision?
Well, I think, first of all, Formula One has been a tremendous success for Malaysia. It has put Malaysia in a global map, become the top destination. But unfortunately, good things come to an end. Last few years, especially from 2014, we have seen a declining in certain key numbers. Two of them, especially live spectators. You see a decline in spectators already
coming to
the circuit. You know, with TV as our competitors, people are rather sitting at home watching it on telly. So live spectators have been on the decline since 2014. TV ratings have dropped.
Right.
Yeah.
So what makes them decline? Like, for example,
I think it's a combination of the sport itself. I think it's been dominated by a particular team, Mercedes Petronas team. You know, it's been dominating for the last 3 years. And the general spectacle of the event has seen Formula One a little bit boring in terms of racing. So these are some of the factors we feel. Not only for Malaysia, but globally
other countries also.
But how are Malaysians taking this, though? I mean, considering that they've always hosted the F1 there.
Very, very mixed, you know. I mean, you have petrol heads who likes to see us hosting Formula One forever. You know? Of course, they're upset. And others felt that, yes, it's time to stop, give it a break, and see what happens after 5, 7, 10 years, and we can always bring it back. It's not like Olympics
you close
or World
it and then
Cup.
you can come back in. But this is after 19 years, right? I mean, you know, people, it's a long time, basically, you know, people get used to it.
It has been a big impact as well for Malaysia.
And basically also are people looking forward to every year. It's like, hey, are you going to go next year? And now they have to stop.
Well, I think, yes, I mean, that's the general feeling right now, but not forgetting that we also have a two-wheel.
You have that.
That's still going to be going on,
until 2021, and that's been a tremendous story. We've been hosting MotoGP for 26 years.
Wow, longer, huh?
Okay, so the last 5 years, it has grown so much. You know, we have fans from Formula One who's converted into two wheels. And we have many Indonesians coming. We have 17,000 Indonesians came for MotoGP alone last year.
And as for the license itself, let's say if you guys stop at the moment, to get that license to Formula back, is it easy or no?
It's all about financials. You know, if the country has the money for it,
you have the money.
That's it.
What about tourism now? I mean, Formula One has obviously gained a lot of tourism for the past years, and now are you not afraid? Is Malaysia not afraid that tourism is just going to decline?
Well, I think, look, it's always easy to use Formula One or MotoGP as a reference to attract tourism, but I'm sure our tourism board has other strategies besides Formula One. I mean, to solely depend or use Formula One as a platform for tourism alone is not correct. But then, like I said, we still have MotoGP that still puts us in a global map in terms of broadcasting, TV viewership worldwide, and so on. So I think it's fine. I mean, like I said, if the numbers are not there, it's just not there. We have to call it in.
What's going to happen to the venue, though?
Look,
what's going to be?
We receive a lot of questions on this. You know, just because we're pulling out Formula One, and they say, Sepang circuit is going to close down. That's not going to happen. Okay, so Formula One is just another event of many events that we have at the track. Okay, we're fully booked 90% of the year.
Wow.
Okay, we are a destination for a lot more things other than motorsports. We do weddings as well, gala dinners and so on. Yeah, so it's fully booked. I mean, in fact, we have our master plan within the next 5 years to build hotels, motorsport theme parks, and so on. So not a problem.
But how do you see the world of Formula One nowadays? You know, since I mean, are they improving? Any ideas?
Since it's declining in Malaysia, is it declining elsewhere in the world as well?
We hope under the new ownership, Liberty Media, we hope that they are doing something, and there are signs that they're doing something. From Barcelona last round, they have introduced a lot more of F1 experience for spectators.
Right.
That's going to be a standard from there on.
Yeah.
So we hope, as our last Formula One, when we celebrate a good send-off, we hope that some of this experience can be seen in Malaysia. And maybe, you know, just maybe after, like I said, in the next 5 years, if everything goes well, we might just come back because the circuit is there.
Yeah.
Right.
And speaking about the finale, you're going to have a really big, you know, is it going to be a big event this time
Farewell.
with farewell, send off, as you mentioned, in October, right?
In some ways, yes. Of course, we theoretically, being the last Formula One, you know, you would expect a lot more people you know, to experience the last Formula One in Malaysia. So we're using that purely as an attraction. For spectators. Of course, on the track, you have a lot of experience in terms of motorsport.
Right.
One thing good about Sepang circuit that we introduce everything and anything about motorsport. You know, so you can experience everything about motorsport, from go-kart, rallying, rallycross, and so on. Yeah. So that's what the expectations you can get for spectators.
But in the sense of racing also, they also have the night race in Singapore and then in Dubai also. What can the Formula One do to change the image? You know, like you mentioned before, nowadays people would enjoy it and watching at home basically. What are the changes you think that they can to improve
I
too?
think fans' engagement is key.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we don't have to look far in terms of how to do it. I always like to compare Formula One and MotoGP.
Okay.
You know, why MotoGP, for us, we receive 160,000 spectators over 3 days. It's purely about the fans' engagement. We're talking about the racing. As long as you keep the product, the racing exciting, and at the same time the off-track experience, you know, this combination is what attracts people to come to the circuit, spend 3 days at the circuit. So the big difference between Formula One and MotoGP at the moment, but like I said, Liberty Media, the new owners, is doing something. So we hope that it will change and it will pick up.
All right. And what are the upsides, though, from this whole decision that's going to happen?
Well, I mean, the strong upside is the savings that the government
It's going to make.
Because the government is also involved in helping this event.
They're supporting the event tremendously since year one. So hence a lot of savings, and those savings can be translated into motorsport development, grassroots development, help Malaysian talent to do better in a World Championship.
Right. Okay, now, Razlan, we're going to go for a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue talking about a Sepang circuit and the F1 formula.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Daily 90. Still talking about, you know, the Sepang circuit is going to close this year. Will be the last year. What? Okay, I'm still curious. It's like we talked before the break, talking about, you know, why I loved watching Formula One is because of the adrenaline rush, the sound, and you mentioned before that this year, a couple of years, they changed that, right?
Yeah, this is the problem with Formula One. Globally, it went on a steady decline from 2014, when they introduced the new technical regulations, where the engines are now hybrid. So for those who don't know, hybrid is basically half electric and petrol.
So it's less noisy.
Yeah,
so
it's not noisy anymore. So you don't feel the vibration, you know, the smell of the petrol. So that loses the whole big effect of Formula One. So for the purists, you know, this is what's missing. But then again, for the new fans, it's great because now you can bring kids you know, without hurting their ears. You can sit in a grandstand and talk. You know, and watch the race at the same time. But it loses the overall effect of motorsports.
Did that actually contribute to the decrease of people watching Formula One?
Oh, definitely, because in 2014 we were round 2. Round 1 was Melbourne, Australia, and so the first race was there, and the general feedback was very much negative. So hence a dominoes effect to the subsequent rounds. You know, so when the feedback says, you know, in Australia was crap.
So
then it happens all from Malaysia onwards.
But what did the organization do? Like, couldn't they save that? Because, okay, hey, this is a great idea, you know, with the car, with the hybrid. But then again, in the sense of business-wise, we're all dropping.
You're not selling.
When you start bringing technology for road cars into the sport, this is what happens. You know, in Europe, they're talking about carbon footprint, fuel efficiency, and all that. To translate that into the sport, it just loses the whole effect. You know, now you have Formula E, for example.
Oh,
you know,
now
so Formula E is basically, you know, there's no sound.
It's more into innovation cars. Like, the less sound it is, the better it is.
So motorsport should remain as it is. Motorsports, you know, what can people relate with motorsports? It's fast cars, the sound, the vibration, you know, the smell of the petrol, the crashes.
Right.
You know, that's what you want. So, and fortunately, that's MotoGP maintains that.
Okay, but in MotoGP, it's different. And then also, for example, it's expensive sport, right?
Yeah.
Whereas it's in MotoGP, you mentioned also before, there's some classes that is affordable. Like what we're having also in Indonesia with Rio Haryanto is more into sponsorship. He was
funding.
Yeah, more about the funding.
Also, another problem with Formula One, it's just too expensive. If you look at Formula One and MotoGP has 3 world championships of different categories.
Okay.
The entry level is Moto3, Moto2, and MotoGP.
Right.
Not forgetting, a couple of years ago, you have like 3 Indonesians in Moto3.
Right.
Okay, with Formula One, you had Rio Haryanto, who's very popular here, I heard, and we were looking forward for him to race in Malaysia and Singapore.
Right.
But unfortunately, because of funding issues, he couldn't continue because it's just so expensive.
With the use of hybrid car coming in, did that change the whole, you know, the value or price of Formula One?
It does, you know. I mean, Formula One in general is just overpriced. You know, it's a victim of their own success. At the same time, it's competition. You know, you have Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull who has a lot of money. You know, to compete. You know, they spend. Everybody spend.
Right.
So it needs to be controlled. And I believe in 2020, the talk is that they will put a spending cap. Okay. And not to get it too overblown in terms of spending.
Okay. And this year with the last year, the price, so it's affordable this year, is it?
Yeah, well,
the
the thing is, we want bumps on seats, you know.
Okay.
I mean, we want everybody to watch Formula One, you know, especially Malaysia being the last one. So the first thing we did was to reduce our ticket price by 82%.
Wow.
Not only is affordable for the locals, it's affordable for the region.
International, yeah.
So the cheapest entry price for Indonesian, for example, is 360,000.
That's not bad at all.
So I think it's a good value.
Yeah.
And of course, if you compare Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore, you know, Malaysia, besides the ticket price, everything is just as good in terms of value for money. It's not too expensive. The hotel, the food, traveling is quite reasonable.
So with the increase or decrease of prices, do you see any, you know, what's the this year? What do you see?
Well,
Tickets, in terms of tickets
theoretically,
sold.
being the last one, you know, we dropped the price by 82%. So theoretically, we should have a full house.
Full house, true. That is true. Yeah.
So we are ready for that. Yeah.
Any special occasion in this event? Usually, like when, for example, in the show, we'll have concerts. You know, last time they had a lot of party, basically. Any special events for this last year?
Well, we were considering having concerts and all that, but we thought that, you know, first year, now is last year, it's all about the event. You know, the event needs to be the superstar rather than the artist who's going to perform. Because to me, the message is all wrong. You know, I mean, we spend a lot of money bringing Formula One. So the Formula One should be the celebrity, should be the superstar. But we want people who goes there for our last Formula One to go home with some memories.
Good memories.
So we are preparing some good, hard mementos for them to take back, complimentary. Okay, so that's a big surprise for our spectators this year. That they once.
Any teaser do you want to share with us?
No, we can't. But it will be endorsed by the Formula One drivers.
Whoa!
So how many people are we expecting to see, though?
Yeah.
We're conservatively, we are targeting only like 80% full capacity. So that's something like 100, just under 100,000 on Sunday.
Oh, right. And that's including us, yeah?
Yes, he could
Yes.
help you.
All
More than
right.
welcome.
Okay, last question. Any messages for the Indonesian F1 lovers, or for example,
Yeah.
that would like to watch his last race? Well, it's not a last race, basically.
In Malaysia.
In Malaysia.
Yes, it's our last race. Let's celebrate it.
Okay.
We've reduced our ticket price so that it's become more affordable. So for a great experience, finally, please come to Sepang Circuit and enjoy it.
All
Okay.
right. Thank you so
very
much.
Most welcome.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so
Good
much.
luck with the event. Hopefully see you there.
Yes.